Hi YouTube. I was trying to keep quiet because everybody was hating on me when I had my little conversation about Pastor Zachary. And when Whitney Houston passed away, I said, you know what? I got my word out. I said what I had to say. And even though I had some heartfelt things going on with this, I was like, I'm going to leave it alone because people want to be fans. They don't want to care about the living. They don't want to utilize opportunities to save somebody's life. That's just a personal vendetta of mine that I have to learn how to control. And then I was in the grocery store and I glanced over at the magazines, the gossip magazines, the trash magazines, all of that. And on the cover of the Enquirer, of course it was on the cover, was the fact that they have absconded the 911 tape that Whitney Houston placed from her hotel room. In that tape, on that voice, she stated that she'd overdosed on drugs. That's what she stated on the 911 tape. And I just want to tell you that the Enquirer has not been sued. No one has come out, filed suit on the Enquirer. And a 911 message is hard evidence. It's something that cannot be debated. So I'm going to go with that. My gut told me that when she passed, that she'd run into an issue that a lot of recovering addicts run into. So this is not for the fans. This is not for the people who never used drugs. This is not for the people who have never considered rehab. This is not for you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the individuals out there who may be considering rehab, who may be thinking, I need to change my life, I need to do some things. And you see what happened to Whitney. And you knew the moment you saw it, you knew what happened. You didn't have to hear about the 911 tape, and you didn't have to worry about all this bull crap people talking about, oh yeah, Whitney died at 40-something of a heart attack. Wonder what type of people normally have heart attacks in their 40s. Usually it's drug addicts who just overdosed. That's who usually has a heart attack in their 40s. But I wasn't going to go there. I was going to let y'all memorialize. Because, I mean, hey, I talked about Michael Jackson and everybody got upset at me about that. But you know what? Like I said, this video is not for your sober, never used drugs, or maybe just smoked some marijuana. Which, if you live in Los Angeles where I am, maybe you just have your card. And, you know, maybe you just have your 420 card and you smoke an occasional marijuana stick or that sort of thing. This is not for you. This is not for you. I'm not talking to you. So you can get upset as you want to. I'm trying to save somebody's life here. This is what I want to say, guys. Rehab is the most dangerous part of recovery. Rehab is the most dangerous part of recovery. And this is a message that I don't think they're putting out there, but it needs to be out there because I have too many dead people in my life. I have too many ghosts in my life as a result of this information not being out there. And for those of you who could care about somebody, don't worry about whether you know they're an addict or not. If there's 10 folks in the room, somebody's an addict. And if it ain't you, it's one of the other 9. Period. So if you could just scoot this video over to them in case they are considering rehabilitation and recovery so that we can help them out. Because the doctors, again, don't tell us this. Rehabilitation is the most dangerous part of recovery. And this is why. When a person is an addict, they have developed the habit of using a certain amount of drugs. You start out with a small amount, maybe a pill-sized amount of drugs, and then you broaden out to the point where you're using a quarter size, and then you might get to the point that you need a little bit bigger, maybe a $half size, or maybe an old-fashioned $half size. And right about then, you're jacked up. Your life is screwed up. Nothing's working right. Your body is hurting you. Whenever you're sober, you're in pain, you're thirsty, you're crazed, you're having fits, all sorts of things. So somebody comes to you with the concept of recovery and it sounds pretty good. So you go into rehabilitation. When you get to rehabilitation, they don't just let you suffer in pain and dry out the whole old-fashioned way. No, they hand you some chemicals to help you along the way. Maybe some Oxycontin or maybe some other type of drug that helps you to get the drug, your drug of choice, the illegal drug, which is easier to get a hold of on a regular basis, out of your system. So you're not sober. You're high. You're in rehab, but you're high. You're not high on the drug that you like to be high on, but you're high on another drug. And then they have the concept of giving you that drug, so you're high and you're an addict, and addicts are okay with being high. And then all of a sudden they go and take this stuff away. Well, in a short period of time, you find yourself saying, I volunteered to come in here. I'm going to unvolunteer myself and get up out of this place because I don't care for it anymore. And so you're out on the street and everybody's all proud of you because you went to rehab. And it was your own choice and you're making a change in your life. And you are an addict. You are an addict that wants to stop using drugs, but you were an addict and you were high the whole time you were in rehabilitation, and you left rehab because they were no longer getting you high to the same extent, and you were having a hard time with that. Understandably so. I'm not getting on your case for that, but I just want to say, then you go out after being in rehab probably about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, maybe even a month. If you were good, maybe it was 2 months. Your system is clean. Your body is, you're able to think. Reflexes are firing off and you're using them for what addicts use reflexes and thought processes for. You are going to the dope man. You have a plan with your clearly thought up mind, and you are going to the dope man. You get your drugs and you're able to hide it better, and you're talking to people. You're still bragging about your rehabilitation thing. No problem. And then you go to your hotel room, like Pastor Zachary, like Whitney Houston, on vacation. Vacation is a tough time for addicts because when we go on vacation, we party on vacation. Party, get high, all of that. So it's really, really tough to be in those situations. And so you get your drugs and you get your American old-fashioned half-dollar size drugs. The amount of drugs that you will get you the type of high that you need. But here's one problem. You haven't used this drug in 2 months. Your body no longer has its defenses in place to try to block this poison from your system. That's the only reason why you have to increase your drugs. Because your body is building up defenses to save your addict life. And you go to rehab and give it a little bit of help. So now the defenses are lowered and the body doesn't really know how to react to that large amount of drugs. So now you're dead. That's how it happens. If you go to rehab, and even though you are high the whole time you're in rehab, if when you leave rehab, you go and get high, and relapse is a part of recovery. So I am not putting you down for relapsing. I'm saying that relapse is a part of recovery. So when you relapse, so that you survive to go back into rehab and to continue on your journey to full recovery, don't get the same amount of drugs that you got the day before you went into rehab. You've been sober from that drug for at least 2 months. You would never go to a dope dealer or any type of person that you get your drugs from, whomever it might be. Maybe if you got your 420 card, maybe your doctor sliding you a few extra pills, whatever. We know. I'm not going to go there, but we know. They aren't going to start you on the same amount if you haven't been using them as well as when you first started. Okay? So go back to what you first started. Just if it's not enough, you can use more. But just live today. That's all I got to say. So yes, I'm using Whitney Houston's situation to try to save somebody's life who is in the process of recovery and in relapse. There is no reason to be ashamed of relapse. Do not be ashamed of relapse. Just go right on back to rehab and get yourself together.